Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to No Dust, No Worries, a budget Hearthstone laddering experience. So, this month, we will be climbing the ladder using a fresh account, and not using any epic cards, any legendary cards, or any adventures. And if you've been following my previous videos, I'm doing this as a challenge to myself, and as a challenge to the limits of the game, to see how well we can do without having access to the quote-unquote expensive cards in Hearthstone. So let's queue up and see what we run into. So this has been a really fun experience so far for me, and I'm really looking forward to hearing back from you viewers about, suggestions, comments and feedback about what I could possibly do in the future to make your viewing experience optimal. Okay, let's start our first game against Tighty Whitey, the rank 24 mage. Let's keep the backstab and throw the rest back. Okay, come on. Alright, here we go. So some people might wonder why you might play a 2-1 into the Mage's hero power. As we see here, our mage friend gets to kill our Murloc Raider, which costs me a card for free. Well, the reason you play a 2-1 into a hero power is to prevent our mage friend from playing a 2-cost minion. And now they fall behind on, I guess it's a tempo play. They fall behind on board tempo, they fall behind in playing something onto the board. Okay, I think we will prove our Raptor, and because I want to protect our Raptor, I will backstab the boar. And I like to call this taxing. So whenever you put something onto the board against a class that can deal 1 damage, I like to call it taxing. So what I'm doing there is taxing the hero power. See, what our mage friend did there that turn was essentially nothing. It was mainly just clearing my board and not developing her own board, which allows me to do a fair amount of, which allows me to dictate the pace of the game. Whoever has the board presence gets to dictate the pace of the game. And so yeah, I find it quite useful, even though you're playing a 1-1 into, a 1 health minion into something that will just get pinged down. It's often an okay play to do, especially if it's early on.
Here we go.
Okay. And I will send both of my novice engineers into face, because my weapon can deal with the boar next turn, and I'm happy to spend the life total to deal with it. Okay. Now that's a very good. I really like Stormwind Knight as an anti-aggro card. Really can do a ton of work for you. Can do a ton of work for you when you're facing decks that play a lot of 3-2s or a lot of 2-1s, things like that. Okay, so I think I will develop Stormpipe and do some work on the commander. No, the knight. Sorry. And again, we have board control, and a lot of Hearthstone players always repeatedly stress the importance of board control. You always, if you control the board, then you have the option of going face. But if you don't control the board, then you always compete, you're always fighting from behind. Okay. Now, I think I'm definitely playing this. I'm definitely doing this trade. And I think I will Deadly Poison
Here
to
we
clear Water Elemental. And actually Deadly Poison is not a card that I mean, not Deadly Poison. Assassin Blade and Deadly Poison aren't cards that I tend to play in my regular Rogue Constructor decks, the non-budget versions. Really, I consider Assassin's Blade to be a little bit slow. You pay 5 mana to deal 3. You really need to be able to... swing at least 2 or 3 times with the blade to get value out of it. And oftentimes, you play this thing on turn 5.
For the king!
And then turn 6 and turn 7, oftentimes you might have already lost the game by turn 7 if you're facing aggro. And if you're not, I guess it's a fairly strong... If you're not facing aggro, I guess it's a fairly strong card, Assassin's Blade. But given the proclivities of our Hearthstone playing community, it always makes sense, I believe, play cards that are good against aggro and not play cards that are not good against aggro. Or at the very least to play cards that
sorry.
I don't see why you need to apologize when you... Anyway.
Here we go.
Behold the light of Stormwind!
Now, in this instance, thinking about whether to play the Voodoo Doctor, taxing, which is something I talked about at the start, playing a 2-1 into a Mage Hero Power or something else that deals 1 damage is good at the start of in the early game, but towards the end when you're top decking, you don't have many cards. It usually is just a waste of the card. So I will hold on to Voodoo Doctor, probably to either A, heal myself, or B, heal our Stormwind champion friend.
We must cleanse
Okay,
the Sunwell.
Shattered Sun. Okay.
For the Alliance!
Actually, no, that was it.
Here we
My logic there actually was not absolutely correct, because I didn't realize that I had a Stormwind champion on the board, in which case the Voodoo Doctor would have been buffed to a 3-2, thereby putting the Voodoo Doctor out of ping range. So yeah, I apologize that was a play that I don't see. I don't, and really that sort of comes back to why I'm engaging in this, budget Hearthstone experiment. I want to see how far you can get, and I really want to get in touch with the common and oh my god, what you got a Sylvanas? All right, I really want to get in touch with the common and rare cards that just basically never get played in Constructed. And I think we're in a little bit of trouble here actually. Because I have no tidy answer to the Sylvanas, and I'm essentially looking to draw into something powerful. Something powerful that will either, I guess really what I'm looking for is card draw or sprint, something along those lines, or perhaps even sap. And I will have to double check actually if we have a sap in this deck, because sap, I believe, is the perfect answer to things like Sylvanas. Okay. Our mage friend is playing an awful lot of late game, which I admire. And yeah, being put in this top deck scenario, I think that makes me think that this deck needs a little bit more value. I think that in addition to checking whether the sap is in the deck, I probably want to reduce early game, so probably take out one of the 1-drops and swap it in for maybe a 4 or 5 drop. Okay, so we're done, well played.
Well played.
I give up.
And now we will revise our deck in light of the Fan of Knives. Very good. Very happy to pick up Fan of Knives. Just as I was saying before, we need a little bit more draw in the deck. So our request is answered to, and I think Engineer, yes. And actually, I will take out both Engineers for Fans of Knives. Fans of Knives. Sounds like there's a band called Knives, and we have a lot of fans. Anyway, so I've taken out both Engineers because I really don't think there's enough value in the Gnomish Engineers. And as I said, I will take out another one of our early game drops and put in. And looking at our curve, we're lacking some 2s, so let's add another 2, because we took off 2 Novice Engineers. And since we're running Backstab, there's a consideration for putting in Geomancer, but honestly I think I'll just stick with the Raptor. Okay, so let's head back into play mode. Okay, and now we are matched up against yet another mage. I think that if my memory serves correctly, we've exclusively played mages since starting this ladder climb. So I don't know whether it's just luck, good luck, bad luck, freak accident. I'll leave it up to you guys to decide what it is. Okay. Alright. So definitely, in the situation where you go first and they have the coin, I would 99% of the time play a 2-1 on turn 1 to force out the coin and the ping, if that's what their intention is. And no, it's not. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to weapon up, making the most out of the Rogue's Hero power, clearing Clockwork Gnome, and having another charge for use on another day. And in this scenario, even though I've got nothing to buff with my Shattered Sun, it's worth playing the Shattered Stone. Just puts a body on the board. It's really not worthwhile to just weapon up again. Very much better to have something on the go. Do I want to deal with the Water Elemental? I think I do.
We must cleanse the sun
Because the Water Elemental gains a ton of value against any class that attacks with the hero itself. So that means Warrior, Hunter, Druid, and Rogue. Rogue most of all, I think. Rogue and Druid most of all, because the Rogue and Druid hero powers are specifically centered around enabling the hero to attack. So it's really key for you to clear any freezing mechanics off the board whenever you can. And you see me keeping my charge here because given my hand, I have a 6 and a 7 next turn. I really want to be able to play the card that I have intended for next turn, whilst also having the option of smacking something for 1 damage. So here we are going to play our trusty friend the Ogre and pass again, because we are not going to. I highly doubt that I'll be able to weapon up next turn. Going into 7 mana with the Stormwind Champion, it's quite an obvious play. Okay. Right. And now at this point, I will whack the Spider Tank, because it sets up for my Deadly Poison next turn, and also sets up for Stormpike Commando weapon up hit. It will essentially be dealing 6 damage to me, but I sort of want to do this just to enable things on the next turn. Wow.
Behold the might of storm
Wow,
winds.
that's a really nice play. Luckily, I have the answer, but I am going to take a ton of damage, aren't I? I'm going to heroically strike this Stormwind champion. And when thinking about which minion to clear, say there are 2, 3, 4s on the board, I always like to clear the one that, like in the off chance that our opponent has a brewmaster. So there are two Pandarins in Hearthstone that can brew a card back to the hand. In this situation where they're both basically the same stat, they're both statted the same, I like to clear the minion that has an effect, basically. I like to clear the minion that has an effect, just in the very, very off chance that our opponent can brew it back to hand and play it again for additional value. Had I cleared the spider tank, then I would have left that play open. Although, it may be very, very unlikely. Oof, my health total is becoming dangerously low. Dangerously low. But we push forward bravely into battle. And I'm sort of starting to feel here that this basic deck, it needs a couple of cards, doesn't it? And that's really something I wanted to bring up. What do I craft? Obviously I'm going to be opening packs when I can, but assuming those cards don't give me what I want, what do I craft? And I'd really like to hear some feedback from you guys about what I might craft.
Here we go.
We are sitting on the precipice of death. Possibilities for crafting. Things that immediately come to mind are rogue class cards, such as SI7, which is actually a rare. Perhaps let's go back to common cards. Let's go back to the common cards. Okay, let's complete this play and talk a little bit more about that.
The frost wolves stand ready for the alliance.
And I basically have to swing here. I'm dead in 2 turns. Push out with as much as I have. I don't think I can deal 25 damage in 2 turns. So it looks like our runs today have started off to a pretty unimpressive start, to say the least. But hey, that's what happens. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you just have a bad run, even at rank 24. Okay. Is there anything I can draw into to help me stay in the game? Oh, no. Okay, so talking a little bit more about cards that I can craft. Yeah, commons. So how about for the next video, I will think about some commons that I can craft that might improve the deck, and possibly I can take some feedback from you guys, my most trusted and beloved viewers, about what sort of cards that this deck might need. Okay, so I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a lovely day, and I will see you next time.